Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to a very special episode of Blade Bias, where not only you can see my face, but you can see the wonderful Brandon Baker's face, the
That's
co-host of the
me.
podcast, on a normal Blade Bias video. What is this?
What is this? Why are we here? We're here for this. You got
boy.
fooled by a regular Blade Bias thumbnail. This will not be a normal Blade Bias episode. If you follow the Blade Bias podcast, you will be aware of the amazing journey that Ethan and I went on with the Necron, the Benchmade Necron, one of the most baffling ballad songs to ever exist in the history of this hobby. What did we do in the 9th episode of the Blade Bias podcast, Ethan? What did we agree to leading up to Blade Show?
Well, you see, we agreed that we would not, as sovereign citizens of the Blade Nation, touch the Necron without being in the physical presence of one another.
This was a sacred oath that we swore.
It was.
That we successfully did.
Yeah, it was pretty easy when no one bought one.
We went through Blade Show. Blade Show was exceptional. If you'd like to hear the full recap, we did a 2.5-hour plus long podcast about our Blade Show experience. So check that out. But Friday and Saturday happened. Sunday is the final day of the show. It's the shortest day. And like an hour and a half before the show closed, we finally got some time to go and try the Necron, which our beautiful boy Sam filmed us doing. And there was a lot of build up to that moment. And thankfully, we have entirely documented what the process was. So this is not just we're going to talk about the experience. You are about to see exactly how we felt when we flipped it. And you will learn all of the horrifying things that I have discovered since we had that reaction. How it's built, how it flips, the disassembly process, the warranty that it comes with, the absolutely massive and baffling box that it comes in. And boy, did I not buy it. And boy, did I not buy 2 of them.
That's good.
So, Ethan, where do we go from
stay
here?
winning.
Yeah, where do we go from here?
We dive straight into the video, I think. Without further ado, our first reaction to the Necron. Enjoy.
Welcome to Benchmade, where show B-roll, the legend lives on. The time has come for us to go on an adventure that was established in the Blade Bias podcast, where we spent like half an hour exploring the realities of the new Benchmade Necron, which neither of us have touched in any way and have only just made eye contact with in person. Ethan, how do you feel going into this?
I'm really nervous. I don't know why.
I'm more nervous than the breadening.
I'm trying to pretend like we didn't just spend half an hour on the podcast tearing this thing apart.
No, we didn't. No, honestly, let's reset.
Yeah.
Let's go into this. We have no expectations.
No.
We were just randomly handed this.
Yeah.
By a random person at the show.
Right.
They're like, hey, this is my balsam. Check it out.
We don't know what the specs are.
Yeah, we have no idea. We don't know what it's made of. We don't know who made it.
Oh, it's heavier than I thought.
It's heavier than you
Oh,
thought.
wow. Okay. Do you want... Here,
Again, I have reset myself. I have no expectations of this. But wow, that is heavier than I thought. I think that's heavier than this. This is a Zyzix in a pouch. Who gets the first flip? Are we opening it first?
Yeah, we should open it first.
Okay,
Yeah.
feel. It's fine.
Okay, feels good.
I felt worse.
Yeah.
This is a demo unit at a live show.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are some thin washers.
Wait, we can both have one. There's multiple here.
Okay, yeah. Wonderful. This is the trainer. So this is just going to be our reactions to the trainer.
Okay, are we ready?
I'm ready. 3, 2, 1.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Ow. Oh my god, ow. That pinched me really hard.
This makes me look like a terrible flipper.
Okay. It's not the worst.
I disagree.
I'm coming into this blind. I think this flips all right.
Are ours different?
Maybe? They might have different weights. Oh! Oh, they have different weights.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, okay. they have different weights.
Okay, that
Boy,
changes
how do they have
things.
different weights. This is fine.
Yeah. I
This
was
is
like,
fine,
I was like,
yeah.
wait, he hates this? Like, it's okay. Oh. How does it change that much?
That's a lot. This Chaplin's fine. Okay. Neither of them have a good tune. It doesn't sound good at all. But
No, it's like-
of course, we're here on Sunday, of the final day of Blade Show. Like
No,
an
but it's
hour
like not
before it
even tap.
closes.
It's just the
is it?
construction of the handles.
Oh.
I'm gonna grab a non-lengthened one. Oh, the blade is as long as the handles.
Oh.
Okay. Oh no.
I did aerial the Chaplin it on the first go.
Oh no. Oh dear. Ah, okay. This is good.
That is tolerable. This is small and heavy.
Well then, that was quite the first experience.
Especially me having the really heavy one. And you're like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no. Yeah, no, that one.
This one flips
fine.
okay. Yeah.
But it does have a modular balance. It has the modular
And by
balance.
the sounds of it, it's a huge modular
It's a
balance. Like it
huge-
changes a lot.
You heard it here first, folks.
Well, you heard it here last because it's the last day, but
You heard it here first. Okay.
okay.
Yeah, no, that one's my favorite.
Yeah, by
With-
far.
With like
By
tuned
far.
up.
Oh, I think it gets heavier.
Oh, I think it gets.
Oh boy. Put that one down. So wait, look at this is apparently the weight system. We have the adjustable spacers, but also they have all of these. Are these tungsten? Yeah, tungsten weights. They change quite a bit. I can say that. Wow.
So all of those can be removed or added,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
That is very cool.
Credit where credit's due. And it is cool that you can see in a way too.
Oh, you can. I
Yeah.
didn't even notice that. If you look in the holes of the, you can kind of see like on this one.
Yeah.
There's no, you can see it's dark up here. And this is the one that we like, so.
Yeah, this middle one. Yeah, this
Oof.
is a weight distribution I can vibe with.
Yeah. No, I can vibe with that.
But I think we're not even being funny.
Nope.
I think
This is entirely
the state
serious.
yeah, this is just pure
Yeah.
raw. We're not even like in video mode.
Nope.
This is just us hanging out.
Yeah.
So, any closing thoughts, closing statements? I'm really curious to try the live.
Why is it $500?
That is the question.
Does the legend live on?
To be continued. To be continued.
Well, that was an experience, huh, Brandon? Because you can totally talk right now.
Boy, was it an experience. And it's
Oh,
amazing knowing that in that video, which you saw us, it's so hilarious that you got the normal one and I got
Normal.
the very, very heavy one. So let's go through our reactions there.
Yeah.
One thing I want to give context for. One of the lead marketing people at Benchmade watched us that entire time.
Yeah.
Like, and heard everything that we said. So that was not said in like a private thing, like a private, nobody could hear us. He heard everything we said and watched us react. And it is so hilarious. My face and how upset I am right from the get-go, because I have the super heavy one. And you had the very heavy, had the not heavy one. So teleport back into that first impression. Is that representative of how, like, as you think back to it, that impression is still accurate? Yeah.
Actually, maybe not accurate because it's gotten worse since then. But
has it gotten worse? Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as like how I felt about it in the moment, yeah, sure, it flipped. Specifically, the lighter one that I started off with at the beginning felt fine. It felt better than I thought it was going to, but at the end of the day, it was always why in the hell are they charging what they're charging for this thing?
Yeah. Having watched the clip now, I was reliving. I felt self-conscious about my flipping because it was that hard to flip. So for those that don't know, the Necron has a modular weight system, as you saw in the video. That was all illustrated, of course. But the version I flipped had you can have up to 4 weights, I think, in it. I believe what I flipped had all 4 on both sides of every, because you can I guess you can have 16 tungsten weights in there.
Because where are you getting that number from?
Because you have, on each scale, you have a slot for each one. The bag that it comes with, I believe.
I didn't even think about that.
We'll get into this. Boy, will we get into this. But in this, let me verify.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I believe you can have. Yeah, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there are 16 tungsten weights that it comes with. So you can have up to 16. I wish I had my scale next to me. This bag is heavy.
Of course it is.
So, yeah, you can have 16 tungsten weights. I believe yours had no weights. Mine currently has no weights, and we'll get into why it still has no weights in a little bit. I believe yours had none, and mine had all of them.
Yeah, and it was rough.
Yeah, that was not a good first impression. And we ended up coming around to it, and we were like, okay, sure, fine. Sure. The legend... Or, I'm sorry, it's these wings can fly.
These wings can fly.
And then where's the...
What the...
Yours for life. Oh, does it not say the legend lives on in here? On this box?
Why do they have so many taglines for this freaking product?
I know, it's weird. I cannot get this sheath back on for the life of me. But so, yeah, what we flipped, you had the light one, I had the heavy one, and then we eventually balanced it out and tried the different ones with the different spacers and everything. So, we filmed that video. Thank you, Sam, for filming it.
Thank you.
Then we talked to the marketing guy.
Extensively.
Yeah, and he had a lot of stuff to share. Probably too much to get into here, but the short version of it, Ethan, correct me if you disagree with this summation of it, was it seems like they really want to try to make something good.
Yeah.
There's at least some intent behind it. They were talking about how they're trying to honor their legacy and try to make something for the newer flipping crowd with modularity because people modded so much of their stuff in the past. And they're trying to honor that. And there's like a guy that's really excited about the Necron that's at Benchmade. And they're really listening to the community. But there's a lot of foundational things that are wrong with this. The biggest thing is the price. This model here costs $550. And it is built...
$550?
Yeah, $550. Maybe $500, but I believe this variant goes for $550. The Jade, yeah, this ruby red G10 one I'm looking at the website right now. On their website goes for $550. It is made for that price. You would expect it to be made of titanium. Nope, these are stainless steel liners. So this has the build quality of a $30 Amazon balisong. And it's also on a washer pivot system, which of course means that it doesn't have bushings, which means it is way harder to tune, and it means that it'll almost always sound like this. Here's a second one for comparison.
Small correction, you can get them for $500 on Blade HQ.
Okay. On the Benchmade website, it's $550. You can get them for cheaper on the Blade HQ website. Wonderful. The trainer model that we tried is $400.
Yes.
But so that's a lot of problems. And so the guy was like, we hear that. We hear people that don't like that it's stainless steel liners. We hear that people don't like that it's only bushings. So they seem receptive to the feedback. And so he eventually recognizes who I am, sees my little badge with Will Hirsch on it, and he slides me 2 boxes. He's like, I talked to Will about sending review units. Here they are. Just take them. They're yours. You like keep them. Do whatever you want. We'd like to see a review. Great. Cool. Awesome. So we do that. Or so we're there. We wrap up our thoughts, have that conversation with him. Very nice guy. Like, seemed like he's a marketing guy, so he's not making or designing this stuff. He's just representing the product. Does that seem like a fair summation of what we experienced?
Yep.
Okay. So, all of that happens. This is where my thunder comes into play. In the podcast, you're like, you have a lot of thunder. Boy, do I have a lot of thunder. We go to the pit afterwards, and I sit down, and I take my little, my Weehaw.
Well, actually, before we get into that specifically, should we maybe talk about like updated thoughts on like the flipping of it?
Oh, sure.
Before we really get
honestly,
into like the crazy.
Yeah, stay tuned for that because hot dog, do I have so many thoughts to share. Yeah, in terms of the flipping, how did you overall feel about it?
It
looking
flipped
back on it?
fine, but the more that I thought about it, I believe we went off and talked in our own little circle afterwards.
Yeah.
It really just feels, and this is genuine, it really just feels like something that would have gotten released on Amazon back in like 2021. You know, the standard, like you've got the G10 with the steel liners and the bearing pivots and all of that. And in some ways it even felt worse. It's genuinely, it was such an uncomfortable knife. I don't think I can remember a single rounded corner on it. The chaplain didn't feel good. The liners don't feel good. The G10 scales feel okay, but the corners are sharp. It's a wildly uncomfortable balisong, and I think Sam had like an old like Nibali's G10 thing.
Yeah,
and I touched that, and I was like,
quality as that.
This is comparable, if not even maybe a tiny bit more comfortable. So it flips fine. The balance is fine, but the build overall, not even talking about the materials or the what we're about to get into, just the overall fit and finish of it just sucks.
Yeah, and so Ethan of course doesn't have one on hand. I have 2. These are the 2 that we were given. If I get it closer here so you can see kind of some of the details. Like overall, like it's not terrible, but it's not good for $500+. The blade. The one thing I like about it is that the live blade looks really cool to me. I very much enjoy the look of the blade. This big area here makes it really uncomfortable, the chaplain. But it's like, it's rounded enough, like in terms of the actual spine of the blade, like it's rounded enough for what it is. And flipping it now, this is with no weights installed. I think it flips fine. Like, it carries momentum good. It's still Chaplin's fine. The fanning, it's nothing to write home about, but the fanning, I'd give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10 in terms of the fan. So as a flipper, like the grip was pretty solid. We said that in the video. Like, or at least the G10 feels fine. You've had problems with G10 balisongs in the past, and I don't think this felt super chalky to you, did it?
Not specifically, which, considering it was a demo unit, is probably even more impressive.
Yeah. So as a flipper, like if I had to give it something on the flippability score that Will and I will give things, 7 or an 8 on the low end, I would say. 7.
For you, I would disagree with that wholeheartedly, but for
What
you,
would you give
if
it?
that's
Okay,
your
what
opi-
would you give it?
It gets like a 5.
5. Okay.
It has a maybe 6 balance, but the comfort's like a 4
Okay.
or
Yeah,
a 3.
so yeah, if
So
we
it
were
balances
making
out.
if we were making a BS score, I would settle at 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so mediocre. I think I'd even have trouble saying that it's a good knife if it was $200 because
Yeah.
it's so stuck in the past because like it's new for Benchmade. Benchmade's never done like a G10 sandwich whatever.
Yeah.
But like it's still even though it's modern Benchmade, it's still stuck in the past in so many ways.
Yeah.
So for them to be like, "Oh yeah, we really took into account what the modern flipper experience looks like." It's like that. No, no, you didn't.
No. And I guess to give some more context for this, you and I had never flipped a stock Benchmade product properly before. At least I hadn't.
I've flipped a 51.
Okay, you flipped a flippy one. I had never, and still have never flipped a stocked Benchmade product. That was one of my goals for Blade Show. It didn't end up happening. But so this is my first time doing it, let alone a new thing. This is our first proper new thing that we've experienced from them.
Right.
I want this to be good. I want Benchmade to make a good balisong that is accessible because they are the reason this whole hobby exists in the way that it does. They literally... On the blade, it says balisong in the butterfly.
Does it? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It says bally-song in the butterfly. It's called a butterfly knife because of Benchmade. Them not having a good, accessible balisong is bad for the hobby because they're the most recognizable brand name in the knife world that's also tied to balisongs. I want it to be good. So, that's the lens that I entered it from. As we said in the video, clean slate. No preconceived things or anything like that. Just, how do we feel going into it? So, do we want to jump into the build from there?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's jump into where you were talking about.
My thunder.
You took it to the pit, did ya?
Boy, did I. So, I already knew stainless steel liners, big L. No bushings, big L. Pretty much, you can get bushing balisongs for $65 and less, as low as $40. And of course, that's the Chinese market. That's different. There we go. Yeah. This will be use this in the thumbnail or promotional material. Just a bunch of L's.
That'd be so sick.
So the build quality is very questionable. Very high price for that, and a lot of other American makers are charging way less for way higher build quality. So, but this is also a modular thing. And so here's where the journey starts. I'll go through that. So I'm looking at the box, sitting in the pit. Here's the, for the verticalness, here's the wings can fly. What a tagline. So I open this massive box. For context, here is the box for the Squiddy XL. This is the box for the Squiddy XL.
I mean, which makes sense. The Squiddy XL is twice as long as a balisong, so it's about the size closed that a balisong is open.
Yeah. But so here's the box, right? And as we saw in the video, there were some alternate spacers that you can use.
Indeed.
So I open the box and see that in that box are the spacers front and center. The very first thing you see is the knife and the spacers. So I look through it and I'm like, okay, let's see what this is all about. And I'm already concerned because these screws here and here on both sides, and they're all separate screws, by the way. It's not there's one screw and then there's a barrel. They are all separate screws. They are T6. And for those that don't know, the industry standard is T10. That's going to be hard to show on camera,
Yeah.
so I won't show that on camera.
T6
But
got
there's-
left in the dust ages ago.
Yeah, so these are T6 screws. So I'm there. I have my little Weehaw T6 bit. I press it down into a table, nice, or not at a table, but into the floor, nice and good, and I start trying to unscrew. I can't get it. Very long story short, here I'll just go right into the thunder. These screws, which there are 8 that you can see, 2 that you can't, are all T6 thread-locked screws.
Oh, it hurts.
Ethan, guess which screws aren't thread-locked.
Oh, it hurts. The pivot screws.
The pivot screws on a washer balisong that pretty much requires Loctite of some, or thread locker of some kind to stay tight. On one of our models, doing the whole process as proper as I can, have stripped probably half the screws. Not fully, but they are somewhat stripped. So, you might think, Brandon, you suck at this. How could you strip those screws so easily? Ethan, I told you before we started filming this video that I have some news.
Oh, no.
There is a specific person in the community, very highly regarded, that messaged me earlier today with just one line that said, "How the hell do you take the Necron apart?" That person, Zippy Balisong. For those that don't know, Zippy makes Balisong accessories like spacers and blade inserts and all that. He disassembles Balisongs for a living.
And he makes videos about how to disassemble them, and he's the one that comes up with tips. Like when the Vault Pro pivot screws were stuck, he was the one that figured out how to fix it.
Yes.
Oh no, the headphones are coming off.
This guy, he knows his stuff when it comes to disassembling things. He has every trick in the book. He messaged me saying, "How the hell do you take this apart?" And then he added, "I am terrified of stripping the screws." I had an hour-long call with him earlier today. He is now, his only recourse is he is going to attempt to boil specifically it's the base screws of his Necron on all sides. The Zen pin ones, I guess, came out fine. But the base ones, he is going to attempt to boil the bottom of this so that it heats up the thread locker so that he can get the screws out. So, Will also has yet to disassemble it. He has yet to even properly flip this. So as of right now, he hasn't touched it yet. But they're sending us a trainer, and he's going to disassemble that, so he'll get the stock experience of disassembly. But, so you could say, Brandon, you just suck at this. But one of the most experienced people in terms of disassembling tons of different Balisongs could not get it apart. So,
I had to get my comfort Balisong.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, comfort it with just what that. I think that just has 2 screws, right? It's just 2 screws. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Cherish it, love it. So that is one aspect of it. I'm sitting there, I'm disassembling it, and I eventually get the scale off, or both scales on both sides off. And then I'm like, okay, because I want to try the alternate spacers, which, as a reminder, are front and center in the package.
Front and onto the side, but I get what you mean.
Okay, yeah, front and bottom middle in the package. The first thing that you see. And there's a hidden screw. These screws don't hold in the spacers. There's a second screw that holds them in. Zippy hasn't even gotten to those yet. He can't get to them. And he was pretty convinced that the screws are unhardened too. Most screws are unhardened, but unhardened, most likely, T6 thread locked screws on a modular balisong. I gave Squid Industries shit for Loctite Red thread locking the swordfish base screws, which also has a modular balance. I still think that's a stupid decision, and I think they still do it. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that that's what they still do. They're still thread locked, which is a baffling decision. The Necron has you have to remove 10 thread locked T6 screws to replace the spacers.
10.
So, any questions, Ethan, based on that? Because I'm not done. Boy, am I not done.
No, just a lot of pain.
A lot of pain, yeah.
Because
So
we're not even to the next night yet.
No. Not even close. So, I'm sitting there at the Blade Show floor. Rob Heath actually has a great video of me going through this process, which that'll be posted somewhere separately. But so I dig through here. It does. So in terms of the unboxing experience, comes with a little sheath thing. Comes with like I believe what's like a Velcro kind of like attachment thing. And then I see the card. The like little help like warranty card.
Maybe it has your answers.
Maybe
answers
it has,
that you so
because I'm
seek.
like, is there something specific that I need to do? It has like a little advertisement for lubricant and all that. And I'm looking at the so it has a couple of basic things, but very, very little is mentioned of the specific Necron. This is just like a kind of copy and paste kind of thing. And I'm looking at it, and then I see the warranty. And Ethan, this is what? This is a modular balisong, correct?
It is.
You would think that disassembling your balisong to mod the weight wouldn't void the warranty, no?
I would think that. That would be an assumption.
Do not use your knife as a screwdriver, pry bar, or chisel. This is under the what is
fair.
not covered. Do not throw your knife or use it for any purpose other than cutting.
Okay, that's a problem. I'm already detecting a problem here.
My warranty is void. Oh God, I lost my place. Here we go. Do not disassemble your knife. Do not sharpen your knife on any power grinding wheel. Any of these acts will void the warranty. So me attempting to do this based on that card, my warranty is void.
Which we should clarify. There was a Reddit post posted
Yes.
shortly after.
Yes.
Where someone actually, I believe they actually DM'd Benchmade.
Yep.
And Benchmade said, according to that spokesperson, representative, employee, whatever it was, that technically disassembly of the knife is messing with the pivot screws, and the body screws don't do anything.
Yeah, so yeah, it was essentially saying if
But it's a
you
washer
mod
knife.
the weight by taking these smaller screws out, that doesn't void the warranty. But if you mess with the pivot screws at all, that does void the warranty, which would include adding thread locker. No?
Which
Me
is not-
disassembling this?
Which is
problem?
not on them to begin with.
Would you like to see how I have been tightening this?
If you use your finger, I'm gonna lose it.
I am physically feeling this spin. It now is not. One of the handles, if I get it even close to tight, like I can still tighten it with my finger, any more than that, the handle locks up. The other one, I can crank it almost to the level of a bushing balisong, which requires a ton of torque, and it just barely locks up.
Okay, that's actually kind of cool.
Is it that one of them does it and one of them...
No, it's cool that one of them is is able to do that.
As far as I know, it's an anomaly. This one, neither of them do that. They're both just bad, and if I tighten them even close to tight, then it'll start to fall apart.
Well, that's just a washer balisong in general.
So, there's all of that. And they, of course, address that in the warranty. Will DM'd them on Instagram. The same guy that we talked to at Blade Show messaged them and was like, hey, what's the deal with the warranty? And he said, basically, it's kind of a gray area. We can, we'll see it as long as you only do the pivot or the non-pivot screws, you're fine. But we're mostly just trying to protect against people that do crazy modifications to the knife and then expect us to service it. But it's a case-by-case basis thing. Most likely we'll fix it for free, but there's a chance that we'll charge you. So there's no way of knowing. So what I honestly intend to do is send this in for warranty repair to see how much that would cost and try to do that anonymously as well. And so, but rewinding a bit, we end up at Will's place on, what was that, Monday night?
Monday night.
And we properly get a chance to go through that. So Ethan, explain your experience, us trying to take apart the Necron.
Well, my experience was kind of just holding the flashlight for Dad. Because we were in that dimly lit living room.
Very, yeah.
And just, I was trying to give you light so that you could work. I remember we were trying to figure out if they were T7 screws or T6 screws because you just couldn't turn them at all before they strip. Yep. This is also combined with the fact that I'm now crashing. My energy levels are crashing from Blade Show. And you had just shown me your box of horrors from your Amazon unboxing video.
Poor baby.
So I was just sitting on the couch. You would have thought I was high. Just, oh, you need a flashlight? Oh, here you go. Because this whole process was just dumbfounding. At every step, there was a problem. At every step, it was like the price that they're offering for this thing was just shrinking, and it was like, okay, when I flipped it, I'd maybe pay $250, and that would or I wouldn't pay that, but that would be maybe a more fair price. And then you get these other problems, and it's like, okay, now it's down to $175, now it's down to $150. Now I'm not even sure I'd pay $100 for the damn thing.
Yeah.
And it just kept going, and it was so dumbfounded. This is the company that created this hobby.
Yeah. And we want them to do well.
They can't make a functional balisong.
Yeah. So I'm stealing something Zippy said to me in the call I had with him earlier. His analysis, which I totally agree with, is at Benchmade, the left hand is not talking to the right hand. Whoever made the Necron, or whoever designed it, whoever's leading that, whoever's overseeing that, there is a massive disconnect in the manufacturing and assembly team.
Yeah.
Because if both the left hand and the right hand were doing the stuff at the same time, you wouldn't have the one screws that aren't thread locked being the pivot screws and not the only screws that you have to take apart to mod the thing. One of these, I don't know which, I haven't had the heart to try to take it apart again yet until Will has access to it. At no point have I actually been able to get the spacers out yet. And one of the screws is fully actually stripped and will have to be drilled out. And that is with me very properly trying to take it apart. And again, if you think that I just suck at it, Zippy fucking Balisong can't get his apart. And I guess his is it's not his, he doesn't own it. So that's why he's being very delicate about not trying to strip the screws. But a question I have is what's the point of Zippy even making spacers? Alternate spacers, if you can't get the thing apart. You know?
I wonder how many customers he's gonna have for the thing. Either way.
Yeah, it is baffling in every sense of the word. And Will and I are going to be doing a video I don't know currently what form it's going to take, but anyone that's ever said that Will and I are too positive, boy, will that change in this video. But I'm still going to approach it as fairly as possible. I'm going to let Benchmade know before we release the video all of our feedback to see what they say, because I want it to be good. And some of this is like pretty quick and easy fixes. Lock tight these screws, have some proper people go in and do the tuning aspect of it. Make sure it has proper handle swing. Lock tight the screws. Don't thread lock the handle screws. That would solve so many things. Still wouldn't solve the pricing issue. Still wouldn't solve the value proposition. But it would at least allow one of the primary selling points of your product to function.
Yeah, it's just overall not great. It already wasn't looking good with the horrendously negative response that people had beforehand to the spec sheet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the flipping turned out to be mediocre at best, I would say. There's a few people who would say it's really good. I would not say people are shouting it from the rooftops that this thing's amazing.
Yeah.
And then to top it all off, as if it already wasn't in a bad position, you're locked out physically of access to features that they're heavily pushing as part of the product, and you just can't use it. It's just not an experience that anyone wants to have anymore. Yeah. Because maybe back in the day when Benchmade was in its heyday, people were okay with modding and drilling shit out and doing all of this crazy stuff to customize their knives.
I don't think
we don't live in that time anymore.
No. Well, and then even like, do you think like the Benchmade 51 would have been universally loved for how moddable it was if you couldn't get the screws apart?
No.
Probably not, unless everyone from that era is this wicked master of tuning. But Zippy was in that era. He took those things apart. He has mods for their stuff. And so it just, there's so many things. And then even like the warranty thing, voiding a warranty for disassembly isn't legal in the United States. Anytime you're taking something apart and it says, like you see a sticker that says warranty void if removed, that is not legal. So even them saying, oh, only if you just take the pivot, if you adjust the pivot screws, that's the only thing that will void your warranty. That's still really shitty, especially on a washer balisong.
Right.
And like as a whole, like now that I've gotten like a good tune on it, like as we said, it flips fine. Let me give like the sound of it is. It's tolerable.
Tolerable is a way to describe it.
Let me do my other one that has a way worse tune on it. Oh, as I hit my mic. This one has blade rub.
Oh, lovely. We love that.
Yeah. So, like, there are things to like about it, but it's just, like, every step that they took, it's like, I can see what you were going for. There was probably some designer that was super excited about it, and then it got botched in the manufacturing and distribution process. But there's just so many fundamental, basic things that are wrong with it. And so that's where I kind of open it up to anyone that has one, anyone that's interested in one. Like, what's your experience been? I've seen people that have replaced the spacers. So maybe it's a case-by-case thing. Maybe some are more thread-locked than not. Maybe there have been different batches. In one batch, the screws weren't thread-locked, and then in another batch, they were thread-locked. I don't know. But it just, I want them to make a good thing. But this ain't it, Chief.
It ain't
this
it, Chief.
Ain't it. The design of it is fine. But it just is so anti-consumer. So it's frustrating. Especially when you live in a world with Squid Industries and Machine Wise and all these companies making like very balisong friendly or balisong flipper friendly things. They at least like, there's no latch. So it's like they're listening in some way. But I'm just baffled.
I am as well. It's a baffling product
that I want to be good, but I'm really curious for you to get it in your hands again. After our review, I may send you one of our models after we're done like doing it, so you can revisit it. But
I don't even want to.
As we said in the video, or like of us trying it for the first time, it was kind of hilarious how we were just kind of in a state of just confusion by the end of it, and just not even really talking or trying to be like have high video energy. That's how
just
I
like
feel
right
now.
now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every
I was
time
just
I
gonna
talk
say
about it.
just like right now.
Like it's exactly where we were. And so there's going to be more. I'm going to try to get this apart. I'll probably send it in. So stay tuned for definitely we'll follow up about the whole and probably keep up with the process on the Blade Buys podcast. So check out the podcast. It's really fun. We talk about a ton of cool stuff there. And there will be a Will Hirsch video about it. But Ethan, do you have any closing thoughts?
I really, I've made my stance clear on the thing throughout the podcast, and you keep saying, "Oh, I want it to be good." I don't even think I'm in that boat because it's a little difficult to look at what the Necron is, and I get it. There are people behind it that really care about it, and there are people behind it that probably had ridiculously good intentions, but ultimately, why'd I say it like that? Ultimately, when what we received, what is facing us currently at the consumer step, is almost an insult to everything they said about listening to the Bally community, doing research on the new modern era of flipping, because it's almost not even an attempt with how much was messed up.
Yeah.
I was willing, when we first started flipping it, I was like, man, I would be almost willing to forgive this thing in some world, but it would be difficult because the price is just so high. And at every possible step, it has made it impossible to like more and more and more. And it's so frustrating. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple of the reviews on the Benchmade website say great quality is one review. Oh, they're all 5 stars. Great trainer, same weight but without the edge. Allows one to practice in perfect movement without getting cut. A fantastic piece with unlimited training utility. Great for developing and perfecting technique as well as experimenting with custom flips and tricks. Adjustable weight options allow for personalization beyond the surface. These are fake reviews. I haven't read these before. You can't tell me someone wrote that. With perfect grammar, adjustable weight options allow for personalization beyond the surface.
Sounds like something they'd put on the outside of the box. Beyond the surface. These wings fly. The legend continues. Is that what it was?
Yeah, that okay, so that was for, I know we're going long here. I promise I'll end here soon, but I need to discuss this now. So that was reviews for the trainer. Reviews for this specific model. Been looking a long time for this knife. It was worth the wait. Feels great in your hand. Perfectly balanced to your own liking. Sturdy yet easily flippable. Thanks, Danny K. My wife bought this knife for me for Father's Day. She knew of my love for Benchmade Balisong knives and surprised me with this awesome engraved ruby red knife. Something I can hold on to forever and pass on to my son. Benchmade, thank you for bringing back the original.
That's the only one that sounds real.
Yeah, they all have weirdly good grammar. To me, this is all about the blade. I love it. I have used Balisong knives for 50 years. I am 72 and bought it because it is a Benchmade and the blade is perfect. So I indulged myself. I gave it a 4-star rating because upon opening and closing, the handle bounces when you capture it. And it's noisy. Sounds like a stick fight. I like my knives quiet. I also would have appreciated a mountable latch assembly instead of handle extensions. And then another reviewer is absolutely floored at the quality and craftsmanship of the knife.
This is another thing that I'm now realizing is that a bunch of people who are just in the knife community are going to see, oh, Benchmade made a Balisong and it's really expensive. It must be really good. And they're going to have no idea, in case you haven't noticed, my bit this episode has been picking up Balisongs that are not only cheaper, but far superior to the Necron in every single conceivable possible way. And no one is going to know that. None of these knife people are ever going to understand that because they just look at Benchmade and they go, oh, this is the best that exists. And it doesn't even come close.
This is the kind of
It's
thing
the
that
Google Cardboard of the Balisong community.
yeah. But imagine if the cardboard cost like $300.
Yeah, if the cardboard was more expensive than like a Quest or a Rift S or an Index or something like that.
Yeah. And this revives my... I realized about a month ago that a ton of EDC, like knife focus YouTube channels, like huge ones, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of subscribers, do not even barely mention Balisongs. So that, like, this is the kind of thing, it's like, I would love to take this to like an EDC focused channel, ask them what they think of it, just with no prep, just what do you think of this Balisong? Do you think this represents what the hobby is? And be like, oh yeah, no, yeah, this is good, this is great, yeah, Benchmade's awesome, they make amazing stuff, whatever they might say. And
now,
then
here's a Sliff T.
Yeah, and then throw at them like something like a Zyzix, or even something like they're all
not the Zyzix. Give them something that's cheaper. Yeah, like something like that. Yes.
Yeah, like a Sasori. And like even just feeling this, it's like you hear the sound and you feel how like quality and premium it feels in the hand, and this just does not give that.
Yeah, I would love to say, hey, here's a Necron. Tell me what you think it costs. Tell me how good you think it is, everything. Oh, you did that? Here's a Sliff T. Oh, you think it's way better? Well, guess what? It's $100 cheaper.
And it's made of titanium. And it has
I didn't even think about
customization
that.
on it too.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could get this for as low as like $350 at a point.
Yeah. So there's just so many. Here's another review. The knife overall is excellent. It is a dedicated competition flipper and not a daily carry of any sort. It flips perfectly and allows adjustable weight distribution via tungsten discs. It has premium materials through and through and is an absolute joy to handle. What? This is like describing a McDonald's hamburger as peak hamburger.
Yeah. Because they don't know any better. I don't blame them.
Yeah. I don't either.
These are real reviews.
I didn't realize that Benchmade or that Red Edge did a ton of promotional video. Yeah. For the Necron. I didn't realize that. Mm-hmm. I wonder what he thought of it.
I don't think I've looked much at his... It'd actually be pretty interesting to look at some of his thoughts on it. But I looked up the Necron earlier to see what it was like on Blade HQ, and it had one review. Okay. It was a 1-star review.
Oh.
Let me bring it back up. Since we're talking about reviews, there's only one review on all of them on Blade HQ. It's for the Jade version. It's from Thomas H. 1 star. This is bad. Excited to get my first Benchmade, and it's trash. The pivots are loose, and the knife came with tap. For $450, this is not that. The handles are binding and dragging, and the pivots are loose. Don't buy this knife, in all caps. With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whole exclamation points.
And Blade HQ responded, "Uh-oh, we are sorry to hear about this. We appreciate you sharing your honest feedback. If you need anything, please contact our amazing..." That's just a canned response. But no, that's been my experience tuning it. You cannot get this tight and have it not be locked up. Like, not obviously a washer Balisong can't be fully tight. You can't even really get it remotely tight. Like, look, I can tighten it with my finger. I want to try to illustrate this. This is currently still relatively in. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to try to unscrew this with my finger from it being too... Yeah, it's coming out right now. This was at a level that if I tightened it any more, the handles would bind. And here we already are. You can see that pivot sticking out a bit. So I can only tighten this with my finger before it locks up. There's just...
Oh, man.
It's bad. And even, like, even like Squid Industries washer stuff isn't like that. You can get it like a little bit tight, like not tight enough to where it wouldn't fall, like become loose without messing with it, or like that it wouldn't come loose like over the course of normal flipping. But you can get it like tight enough to where it's not gonna fall apart on you.
My Squiddy AL to this day, I don't really have to tune it that often. It's been beaten over concrete. It doesn't look good, and it has no tap. You can do a good washer system.
Yeah.
Benchmade didn't.
And they've mostly made all their knives, almost all their knives have been on washers.
Yep.
And their titanium stuff was cheaper than this.
Yep.
So, yeah,
it's baffling.
Anyway, I guess we can wrap it up there since we're at almost
I was
going to
say we are at an hour with the footage that we have shown them.
Yeah.
So I believe it is time to wrap up this special. This is the most negative that either of us have probably ever been on a knife, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's even with my like you said you didn't line up with my thing, and I'm sorry, I'll circle back because I totally just cut you off.
No, you're good.
But you said that you didn't really agree that you want it to be good. I'll clarify that. I want Benchmade to make a good balisong. I don't know
I
that
agree.
It would be in the Necron.
I know what you mean. I just don't care. I see Benchmade as this big company that just doesn't care anymore.
Yeah, but how awesome would it be if they cared?
It would be, but at the same time, I just don't really see. I kind of see them. There's a group of old balisong companies that I kind of see in the same vein. It's like the BRSs. It's the Benchmades. It's the companies that used to be the cream of the crop until they stopped trying at all.
Yeah.
And now they just fall behind. And now we have other companies, machine-wise, BB Barfly, Squid, LDY, Nabali's, that are they just care so much more.
Yeah.
So I'm perfectly happy to see Benchmade fade into the wind. As good as it would be for Benchmade to release even a Squid Industries level product that flips that good, that shows all of these knife heads that, hey, balisongs can be pretty cool. I don't know if they're capable, especially after this release. Yeah. I just don't have the faith in them.
Yeah, the marketing guy did, to quote him, he said, the Necron is their opening salvo.
Yeah.
Their opening salvo. So maybe that means that they want to come in hot and heavy with new stuff and really want to like jump back into the balisong market. But if this is where they're starting, this is like opening a restaurant and you're serving McDonald's quality burgers and charging like high-end chain restaurant, or no, not even chain restaurant, just high-end restaurant prices for a McDonald's quality burger. And they're like, oh, we're going to make it better. It's like, okay, well, if this is where you're starting, my boy,
you have a long way to go.
You got a lot of work to go to get up to there.
And I'm not saying,
and I don't even feel like we're being super nitpicky either.
No.
Not being able to disassemble a product with a modular balisong is an objectively really bad problem to have. On anything.
Having a balisong that matches the quality of an Amazon $20 trainer for $500 is objectively a problem.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that they can't come back from this. I'm not saying like I hope they don't. I'm just saying there is no faith. I have no faith, and I will not personally be watching any of their releases with any bated breath.
Yeah,
because the hobby has moved on. And with the Necron, I think they've showed that they can't keep up.
Yeah. Which is just such a shame because they totally could. Like, if there was just a standard, you could buy it all the time, like $300 to $350 titanium live blade trainer titanium live blade made by an American company that was always available across virtually every storefront and in physical stores that you could just get that was reliably good. Like, I'm saying that, like, you walk into Smoky Mountain Knife Works and you see a very good quality Benchmade balisong, and you get it and it's great. And even just random knife shops would carry it because it's a Benchmade product. Even the most random knife stores I've been in, they've had old Benchmade balisongs. So just like if they did it, it could be such a cool thing. But I just don't think it can happen unless they have somebody that can really come in and make something awesome. And that's where I hope like Will and I giving them feedback. I would love for them to take our feedback super seriously and everything that they experience at Blade Show to heart and that they listen. But
if they do, it could
only
be the
time will
greatest
tell.
comeback of all time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just like, I don't know, man. Because Benchmade, their stuff has never really been like the forefront lately.
No.
It was way back when, but
Well, for the last few years, their only commercially available balisong was like $850.
and it was the freaking terrible one with like the giant handle on it or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Benchmade 85.
Yeah, the 85.
It was $675 with titanium channel handles.
I really do think it's up to. I think Squid is our best bet to get into retailers like, Smoky Mountain or whatever. Because they already have the Kraken on Blade HQ. Does Smoky carry the Kraken? They might. I don't know.
I don't think so. I've been to that store physically and I didn't see any stuff there.
Okay. I think it's up to Squid. I really do. Because Benchmade, again, they could pull the greatest comeback of all time, and I'll say the same thing to them that I said to Machine Wise. If you prove me wrong, I will happily come out, throw my hands in the air, and say, "Wow, you guys did it! Congratulations!" But the Necron is like negative progress because you're turning people against you with the laughably poor performance for the price.
Yeah, I agree. It's a shame, so there will be updates to this saga. So subscribe to Blade Buy, subscribe to the Will Hirsch YouTube channel. There will be more, and I'm fascinated to see where it unfolds from here. I'm fascinated to look back at this video in like a year and see where all this went. We do have quite a track record of looking back at previous things we've said and being like, "Oh, hot dog."
Oh, we were right. Shoot.
Present company included.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, let's wrap it up.
Yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed our hour-long dissection, straight up murder, burial of the Benchmade Necron, one of the most, I hesitate to use the word fascinating, baffling products that we have seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Thank you to Brandon for sharing all of your thoughts on these products when you could have just very easily saved it for your video that will inevitably come out. Appreciate you coming on and giving us insight.
Well, that's where the conclusion to all this and where all this ends up, that'll be in that video. It's like what Benchmade says to our feedback, what Will thinks about taking it apart. What I said to Zippy's like, watch Will get his trainer that they're sending him, and it's just a complete breeze, and he has no problems. But Zippy having the same problem that I have makes me feel at least somewhat validated that there is an objective flaw in
as you should. Well, yeah, it's T6. You should just T6 is just a problem in
especially general. 10 of them. 10.
There's way too
thread-locked
many.
T6 screws.
T6 for anyone who isn't caught up on anything. It's just too small to be tightening to any degree that you would need to have for a balisong. It requires far more force than it can take to unscrew stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
here, I can actually, as a final thing, I can roughly illustrate. Is this T10? This is T10. Here is the difference between a T6 bit and a T10 bit.
those tiny little teeth just don't have what it takes to untighten what you would need to untighten for a balisong that's not only held together, but thread locked. It's baffling to me.
And the T6 bit I've been using to try to do my further disassembly is a brand new iFixit T6 bit.
Yeah.
So
hopefully you enjoyed. Thanks to Brandon for sharing all of his input. Thank you to Sam for recording our little first impressions.
Yes.
And you know what? Thanks to the people at the Benchmade booth for humoring us, because the
Yes.
dude was actually super chill. And there
Very
are a
chill,
ton
very
of
friendly.
designers. There are a ton of designers and workers behind Benchmade who have nothing to do with the status of the final product, who actually do care. And my genuine hope, as much as I've dragged you guys through the coals this whole video, my genuine hope is that you guys specifically, your voice can get heard and we can get something out of Benchmade that actually won't get an entire hour-long Blade Bias video dedicated to it.
Yeah.
But until that day, Brandon,
Everything I've
do you have
said
anything
is
to
tough
say?
love. It is tough. I
Yeah.
want Benchmade to make a good thing. This has not come from a place of I'm pissed off and I just want to shit on something because I have the negative energy that I need to release. No. I am this fired up because I want it to be good and it's not. And that sucks. So
I can't
where I'm at.
particularly say that. I can't exactly say that I'm not a little ticked off about it, but
Oh, no, I am. But I'm
know.
mad. It's like mad in the way that you would be at like a younger brother. It's like, my boy, I
Right.
love you so much, but you have to do better. This is absolutely ridiculous. You cannot keep doing these things. I love you. I don't love Benchmade, but it's that kind of tough love of like, I'm really not mad because I'm actually mad. I'm just so disappointed because there's so much potential in this.
right.
So,
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Let's actually wrap it up.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Go check
Thank you
out
so
the
much.
podcast if you want our extended thoughts on the Blade Show experience. And check out the rest of Blade Buys because it's lovely and fantastic. Ethan does a lovely
And
job.
thank you so much. Check out Brandon. Brandon running things over at the Will Hirsch channel and his own personal channel where he live streams. I hear there might be a live stream coming up soon, maybe. Oh wait, no.
There is
When
not
this
at the time of
releases, you
recording.
missed it.
You missed it already, but I just did one. Check that out.
Yeah. So, cool. Thank you all for watching. And we will see you in the next one. Later.
Peace.